Hello and welcome back to another Strat Gaming video guide. In this episode of the Bannerlord Perks guide, we will cover all perks from the one-handed skill tree. By the end of this video, you will have a complete understanding of what each one does and which to pick based on your specific needs. I won't be covering any captain perks until they allow us to pick captains for our army, as they're pretty much irrelevant right now. I put timestamps in the description for your convenience, and without further ado, let's get started. Bash. The extra damage is negligible as the base bash damage is only 2. I've synced up 2 stuns to begin at the exact same time and slowed time down 50%. There is a difference, but it's mostly with how far back the enemy is pushed and not so much in terms of how long the enemy is stunned for. Deflect. I'm not a big fan of handling increase, as I found it extremely hard to tell the difference in damage after taking these perks. If your aim is atrocious, then consider picking this perk, but otherwise I would recommend taking bash instead. Swift Strike. I'm a huge fan of stacking attack speed modifiers, although 2% by itself isn't much. The secondary perk giving 0.5 militia per day for the governor is amazing, as the militia help deter attacks and are wage-free troops. To be blunt. If you're having trouble getting axes to one-shot kill and maces to 2-shot, then consider this perk, as 5% damage boost is decent. However, with a good smith in your party, damage shouldn't be an issue. The secondary perk for 0.5 security is decent as well, however, I find the militia to be more beneficial in general. My pick here is Swift Strike most of the time. Cavalry. I'm not big on mounted damage boosts, as the speed damage bonus from mounted combat is generally enough to kill anything in one hit anyways. However, 5% is a pretty good bonus to have. Shield Bearer. I tested a sprint across a field to see what difference the Shield Bearer perk had, and it was quite underwhelming to say the least. I actually couldn't tell any difference at all between the two, making Cavalry the obvious choice here. Duelist. 20% is a huge increase in damage, however I can't think of a reason why you would use a one-handed weapon without a shield. If your shield breaks in combat, then this can be handy I suppose, or in the civilian setting where using a shield isn't an option. Double renown gain from tournaments allows an extra 3 renown per tournament win, however by the time you're level 100 and one-handed, you probably won't be doing too many tournaments anyways. Trainer. Plus 2 hit points isn't much, but I highly recommend stacking as many HP modifiers as you can get. When you get to the late game and have good armor, you'll be an absolute tank. The secondary perk is a nice addition, giving 5% XP more to all foot troops. My foot troops tend to die the most, so being able to level them quicker is a plus. The level 100 perk is situational, but my preference is usually trainer. Arrow Catcher. Having a larger protection area against arrows is very useful, as ranged attacks tend to be the majority of my deaths. Shield Wall. If you like to hold your shield steady without moving it to block correctly, then this can be helpful. However, I rarely get into battles where my shield is destroyed. Even then, it's not hard to find a replacement shield from the floor. I pick Arrow Catcher every time. Corpse a Core. As stated before, having extra XP gain from battles for infantry is nice, as they will need to be replaced often and leveling them up can be more challenging than archers. I don't often find myself having garrison issues, so the plus 3 to garrison size is a non-factor. Military Tradition. My preference is for passive XP over battle XP boost, since it will be used as much in peacetime as it is during war times. It also hits all infantry, whereas battle XP boosts is only for those who get hits and kills during the battle. I'm also a huge fan of garrison wage decrease for the governor, as garrison wages can easily become larger than the money produced from a settlement, making your fief an expense instead of an income source. Military Tradition is my pick 100% of the time. Lead by example. Gaining 5% more XP for all troops after battle is nice, since it doesn't apply just to infantry this time. Also, starting with a flat 5 bonus morale for all battles is great. Stand United. Gaining 8 morale is even better, however it only applies when you're outnumbered. If you mostly use high-tier troops and don't mind riskier battles, then this could be a great pickup. However, in general, it's more situational than the other perk. Gaining 30% more security from garrison troops can help stabilize a newly conquered settlement quicker, but again, security is generally the easiest stat to fix. This pick can be very situational, but I lean towards lead by example. Fleet of Foot. 5% more movement speed is massive. If you're planning on fighting on foot, then this is a must-have for mobility. Like the other movement speed modifiers, it's difficult to see the difference when testing unless you stack enough modifiers together. So if this is the only movement speed bonus perk you take, then consider skipping it. Steel Core Shield. I'm not a huge fan of shield HP bonuses, as I rarely lose my shield in combat. If you have issues with your shield surviving, then consider this perk. However, my personal pick here is Fleet of Foot 100% of the time. Deadly Purpose. Increasing all one-handed damage by 5% is a good bonus, but damage is rarely a bottleneck for my builds. Unwavering Defense. Plus 5 hit points is a great bonus, especially when stacked with other HP increase perks. On top of this, we gain plus 10 HP for all infantry in our party, which is a huge increase. This isn't even close. Unwavering defense is the pick here. Chink in the armor. Attacks ignore 10% of the enemy armor, which can make a slight difference to damage on higher tier troops. However, it's just not enough to entice me to pick it. And by the time we reach level 250 one-handed, money shouldn't be an issue, so the secondary perk for 20% recruitment cost is a non-factor. Prestige. Extra damage to shields can be pretty good if you're using an axe. In my test, it took 5 hits instead of 7 to destroy a shield, which is a big difference. However, the secondary perk is S tier all by itself. Plus 15 to party size limit is huge and ends the discussion right there. Prestige is the pick 100% of the time. There's only one perk here, making the decision trivial. However, let's look at how effective it is at different levels so we can compare and decide how far past 275 it might be worth for us to level up. There's a huge difference between 275 without the perk and 330 with the perk. However, from 300 to 330 is not as noticeable. I don't think level 330 is worth the grind, but getting close to 300 is definitely worth it. We are nearing the end of the video, and it wouldn't be a strat gaming guide without some bonuses, so here we go. A good perk can make a marginal difference by itself, but the real power comes from when you select groups of perks that synergize well together. Let's look at some one-handed perks that would stack nicely with other skill perks. Governor Militia Increase. There are 7 perks that will increase militia every day without extra requirements. This totals up to 4.5 extra militia per day. Using a castle with terrible loyalty to test, we can see the base militia is 105, but with all governor perk boosts, that number shoots up to 285, an increase of 171%. Keep in mind, militia are free units and cost nothing to recruit or maintain. Even without a garrison, this castle will be difficult for most enemies to siege quickly. It's not uncommon to win a siege defense while being outnumbered 2 to 1 or more. Main character HP increase. There are 8 perks that increase our main character's hit points. If we add all of these up without the final athletics perk, we can see a plus 32 HP increase. With athletics maxed at 330, we can increase that number by an additional plus 80, bringing our total HP increase to 112. The base HP is 100, so this is a 112% increase. With a good set of late game armor, surviving on the hardest difficulty setting becomes trivial, allowing us to rack up even more kills. I want to thank you all for watching another Strat Gaming video guide. If you found any of this information entertaining or useful, hit that like button, as that's the best way to let the YouTube algorithm know that I'm doing something right. If you want to see more videos and guides just like this, consider subscribing. Let me know in the comment section below what topic you would like to see covered on the channel. Up next, we will be looking at all of the two-handed sword perks. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.